Everybody, welcome back to the Insiders Lounge. Today we have another special guest, and it's a late one for me tonight. We have a 12 hours difference between the two of us. But Chris, thanks for coming on, and feel free to introduce yourself.
No, thank you for having me. My name's Christopher Grant. I'm the general manager of Cambodian Premier League club called Svay Rieng.
Brilliant. We'll start. I'm sure people have a lot of questions already of what a Scott's doing in Cambodia, but we'll start from the start. Let's hear how you first got into football, some of your early footballing memories as a child.
Yeah, I think like most people, football has been part of my life for as long as I can remember. I still remember stories of my dad telling me about when we went to our home club in Scotland. You know, me being on his shoulders and the old terraces that the stadiums had in the 80s, and as a baby, kind of being sick on him during games and all this sort of stuff. So, it's just been part of my life from day one. So. That's how it's all started, and just very lucky that it's been an area that I've been able to pursue as a career as well. It's a huge part of my life, football.
And then before we get more into the career side of things, did you have a playing career of your own? Did you get to a certain level back in Scotland? How'd that go?
Yeah, like everybody, I played football from as soon as I could walk, and was in kind of some academies and stuff when I was younger. But yeah, kind of never kind of made it professionally, and I kind of knew that maybe I might not kind of make that. So at a very early age, I was already kind of focusing on kind of the coaching side of things. From as young as kind of 15, 16. So yeah, I stopped playing kind of within a team environment when I was 21, and then it was just full acceleration ahead with regards to the coaching career.
And then you've been able to achieve a lot of these different coaching certificates back in Scotland, and then as well you went in and did college on the side as well. Can we get into some of your educational background, kind of what you've been able to achieve so far, and how you've been able to use that in your career in your day to day now?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I left high school at 15 and went to college, and I spent 4 years at Edinburgh College studying a higher national diploma with sports coaching and sport development. And while I was obviously a part of that course, I started to do some of my coaching licenses with the Scottish Football Association. And then when I graduated in 19, I went into kind of full-time coaching. It was initially kind of at grassroots level, and then I got an opportunity to start working in professional club academies, and that was kind of my first step into coaching both at grassroots and academy, and then continued to my pathway through my coaching licenses, and then went up to the highest level, which I went to was B license. And I'm sure we'll talk about it later, before then kind of moving away from coaching and kind of going into more of a management position.
And so you had your start in Scotland. You were able to work your way up in some of the academies and the clubs there. What was the first inspiration? I remember when we first got on a call, we were kind of discussing, I was like, how did a Scottish man get to Cambodia? And so that's the real question. How did that journey kind of first start? How did it first happen?
Yeah, again, my dad involved. My dad actually moved to Cambodia in 2005. So I started just to come over to visit him, every year for a holiday. Obviously, back then I was still in college. I was still pursuing a career in coaching, and I had things I was building back in Scotland, as well as a coaching company which I started when I was 22. Every year I just kept coming over. I was on holiday, and every year I kept coming. I kept kind of getting a little bit of a love for the country, the people. Football was very much in infancy when I was coming
Yeah.
over. It's only really exploded here in the last kind of 5, 6, 7 years. So I kind of always had an aspiration of my coaching company, Elite Soccer Coaching, which I started in Scotland, to try and open that up in another part of the world. So it made complete logical sense for me, as I was coming to Cambodia so often and I had family here. Why not come to Cambodia and set up Elite Soccer and see if I could try and replicate what I was doing in Scotland in Cambodia and try to help the development of football.
And what was it like? Because I know breaking into a new culture and a new environment can sometimes be super difficult. I'm sure you didn't speak Cambodian fluently or anything like that. What was kind of the first steps of getting involved in the business world, but also the footballing world?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I mean, obviously, I was lucky that I didn't just arrive, and I'd been, multiple times, so I kind of already had a feel of the country and knew what was
Mm,
going on. Um, but to be honest with you, Chad, I didn't really think about it. I just kind of did it. I obviously had the experiences I had of setting up the company in Scotland and working in academies and working in football. So I just kind of took all the experiences and all the knowledge that I gained in Scotland and just replicated exactly the
mm.
same here. And obviously, over time, I had to tweak things and change things to make it more specific to the environment that I was working in. But it was just blinkers on. It was just full focus on this is what I do in Scotland. Carbon copy it here in Cambodia. Tweak things as we go to fit into the environment, and it was just, not looking back, not looking sideways. It was just forward, forward, forward the whole way. And yet, 10 years on, the coaching company is still running here in Cambodia and one of the leading kind of grassroots football coaching companies in the country. So, yeah, it's worked and been successful. And no, hopefully it's played its part in supporting the development and opportunities for kids to play football.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that raw mentality to just go out and try something and then like you said, tweak it as you go, and I think that works out over time. We'll get back into kind of your own business and what you've been able to work on now. But first let's get into the other career paths that you've had while you're in Cambodia. So you've been able to work with a few different clubs before the one you're at now. Can you just kind of go through some of the unique experiences and how you were able to find those positions?
Yeah, so I think with obviously having the coaching company here, it was the first coaching company, well, professional structured coaching company in the country. So naturally, some of the kind of clubs were, what's going on? Who's this guy? And one of the clubs, Phnom Crown, they're actually, probably the biggest and they are the most successful club in the country. Just kind of reached out and wanted to have a chat, and they were in the process of forming a residential academy. Obviously, they then learned that I had experience working in an academy, so yeah, we managed to obviously come to an agreement that I would come in and support the club working within the academy with the under 14s it was. And then I built up a good relationship with the head coach there, who was actually from Switzerland, but had been in Cambodia for a very long time. And he asked me just to help do kind of some opposition analysis for the first team. So go to watch the next game that they were going to play against the opposition and do a report. And yeah, just kind of that was my first step into kind of professional football within Cambodia. And I was at the club for 18 months. We won the league in 2015, so it was great to be a part of that. And for the academy, we went and joined some international competition, so it was great, experience for me doing that as well. And then yeah, after 18 months, I kind of stopped the contact with the club and just went back full focus on the coaching company. And then the club that I'm in at the moment, we got kind of connected by a mutual friend. Again, initially it was academy related. They were looking for an academy manager. They wanted to restructure. So that was kind of my first role. And then after about kind of 5-6 months, we had conversation that they were looking to try to push the club onto another level, bring in a new foreign head coach. So they had never had a foreign head coach before. It was all local, and they wanted to try and kind of push to become a little bit more successful and challenging for league titles. So I helped them on that and in the recruitment of the first head coach, and very naturally that just led me to tend to take on this role as general manager. Actually, to this 6-7 years on, I've actually never sat down with the bosses and had the conversation of being appointed the general manager. It's actually just happened very naturally, and I just came into the club. We had the new foreign head coach come in that I supported on. And I just kind of started to take a little bit of a hold of the football club in terms of the operation side. And I think maybe that, coming from my previous experience of setting up a coaching company, and the various areas that we have to have within the company to make sure it's operational, from financial to structures to processes. I just started to kind of take a little bit of a hold of that within the football club, because the football club here, although it's been successful and it's an established professional football club, it wasn't kind of operating how we would normally envision a professional football club to operate. It was departments that didn't exist. There was, just part-time staff. So it really required a big restructure, kind of off the field. And I just kind of took the lead on that. And over the last 6-7 years, we built multiple departments in the football club, and I sit here very confident to say that I think we have a very European style model within our football club with the departments that we have, and I think we are the best structured football club in Cambodia at the moment. So yeah, that's kind of how that's all happened to get into the role. I also was lucky that I had the opportunity to work as a technical advisor for about 2 years for the federation while I was working at the club, and it was really to help with regards to the rules and regulations of the league and the competition, the formats, the scheduling, just to try and help continue the development of Cambodian football. And that was a fantastic experience as well, being on the other side of, not the club side, but actually the league side as well, and how they operate and how they try to structure the major competitions.
Yeah, so you mentioned working on the league side. For many of those listening, they won't actually know much about Cambodian football. And so I want to get into what are some of the key differences on Cambodian football, especially on the professional side, compared to some of the other major leagues, called the Premier League, the Bundesliga, the leagues we all know. What are some of your unique differences that might attract new viewers and have a new approach to the way professional football is run in the country?
Yeah, look, I think, football is football at the end of the day. It's exactly the same game. I think, what's kind of interesting about Cambodian football, that it's kind of a growing market. It's a league in a country that is one of the fastest growing countries in the world. So we're seeing, a lot of development in the infrastructure. A lot of this fan culture is coming into the clubs now as well. So we're really where European football was many, many moons ago is where we are now in Cambodia. And it's quite nice, certainly for me, to experience that, because I never experienced the growth of European football. It was already established, it was already there. Whereas now in Cambodia, I'm able to actually experience it, but also be a part of it. And I think it's quite a unique thing also for fans and people to watch the development of the league, that they can actually see how the league is developing in terms to hopefully become a top league within this region.
You mentioned a lot on your LinkedIn. I follow it quite often, where you like you said, you mentioned actually previously as well, you've been able to open many different parts of the club up that might not have existed previously. So I know a lot, like with the social media, merchandising, marketing, that sort of thing. What are some of those unique approaches that you've been able to have where they might have not necessarily had that as a common stay in Cambodian football previously, but you've been able to bring your expertise from the European side and now have this at your current club?
Yeah, I mean, for me, and when strategically planning for the football club, I want us to build a football club that is a leader within Cambodian football, and is being an example for other clubs of how football clubs, or certainly how we perceive football clubs, normally operate, certainly in the Western world. So the development of the social media and more content coming out of post-match interviews with the coach and pre-match interviews with the coach and players, and inside kind of behind-the-scenes content of training, and certainly on the marketing side of things as well. And like you mentioned, this year we just launched some merchandise for the first time for the football club as well. So it's really for me personally, and I have the support of the owners to do that, is just to build a football club that is very parallel to how the best football clubs operate around the world, and it's trying for us to be one of the leaders in Cambodia to show the way of supporting other clubs how to do it as well. We won't get everything right. We'll make mistakes. It won't be perfect. But we're trying to build a football club that is a leading club within Cambodia.
And we've spoken about some of your key responsibilities. What does an actual day in the life look like for you? Because I know that might vary compared to other GMs and other clubs, but also many people don't know what it's sometimes a general manager actually does. So can you get just a little bit of a glance into a day in the life?
No, sure. So we're very lucky that 2 years ago we opened up our first training ground for the football club. It's the first purpose-built training ground for a club in Cambodia. So I have the privilege of going into the training ground every morning. We have all our departments there that we've built over the years based there as well. So uh, one thing that's quite exciting that I enjoy most about the role is that every day is different.
Yeah.
And there's every day there's something different that we have to deal with. So every day I have communication with all our heads of the department, whether it be from the admin team, whether it be from the marketing team and sales department, whether it's media related, or the financial side of the club, budgeting, and then obviously the facility management as well. We're constantly looking to develop our training ground, make it better, continuing to improve it. So reviewing all these aspects as well. Normally, our team are training in the morning, so after training, I'll meet with the head coach, see how training's been, anything that he needs from me to support the team. And then obviously, as we get closer to the match day at the weekend, when we're at home, it's liaising with obviously our stadium staff, making sure all match day preparation is ready as well. So we're constantly, just every day there's different things to deal with. I have regular communication with, our CEO and owner of a football club on a daily basis. So yeah, we're constantly just in dialogues, and my day is just, in constant dialogue with all areas of the football club, all departments, academy, everything, just to make sure that within my role and my function, it's to ensure that the football club is operating as smooth as we possibly can. That's pretty much in a nutshell what my job is. Make sure all areas of the football club, all departments are operating, make sure that the senior team, everything around them is calm, everything is structured, everything is set for them, that all we need to focus on is the football. And give them obviously the best chance to prepare and win the games at the weekend. So my day to day is just to make sure that communicating with all these departments to make sure that we're working towards the goals that we want to achieve, short, medium, and long term, and ensure that as a football club we're operating in the way that we want to operate.
And we've mostly spoken about the men's side, the professional men's team, but you also have the academy, like you mentioned, and a women's team. Can you
Yes.
dive into some of the other departments in terms of the academy and the women's team that you now have?
Yeah, so the women's team, we started in 2020. So we're kind of 3, 4 years now into running the women's team. It's an area that we want to continue to support and develop. It's great to sit here and say that our women are full time. They're on contracts. They have salaries. They train every day. We support them with everything that we possibly can. Unfortunately, one of the areas of Cambodian football that still needs to grow is that the women's league wasn't kind of ran last year for budget reasons or whatever it may be. So these are one of the challenges we have as regular competitions for the women's team. It's also one of the challenges we have for the academy as well. There was no youth leagues last year run by the federation. So, these are the challenges that we have to overcome. But yeah, we have a full-time women's team. And then for our academy, we have under 18s, under 15s boys. We have an under 15 girls as well. And we're currently in the process of building a residential accommodation at our training ground, as we're going to transition into a residential academy probably later this year as well. So this is a very strategic move from our football club for having more contact time with the players, building much more of a culture within the academy as well of how we envisage that the players need to be educated both on and off the field, and hopefully obviously developing higher talent for our senior team in the years to come. So we have this going on as well, which hopefully will be kicking off in the coming months once all the construction is ready and we're ready to go with that.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the images of the residential academy. They're stunning. Like I'll maybe even pop them up on the episode for people to see, but unbelievable work. So I'm really impressed with that. We've spoken a little bit about kind of the whole academy now, but I want a quick overview on some of the key highlights that you've been able to achieve so far with the club. So the AFC club license, as well as winning the league, and now this year you're looking close to doing another one there for you for the league title. What are some of the key highlights that you've been able to achieve so far?
Yeah, I think obviously you mentioned winning the league certainly is the highest one. We were able to do that. It was the second time in the club's history that they won the league, which was back in 2019. And it was a record-breaking season. We smashed a lot of records in Cambodian football that season as well. So that was obviously, fantastic for everybody involved in the football club. And then in 2020, we qualified for the AFC Cup group stages for the first time as well. So AFC Cup would be the equivalent of like Europa League in Europe. So that was, again, another fantastic achievement for the club and all of us involved. And to enable us to qualify for the AFC Cup group stages, we have to ensure that we fulfill the AFC club licensing on an annual basis. And there's 5 pillars to that. There's a sporting criteria, financial, legal, personnel, and infrastructure. And within each of these criteria, there's multiple areas that we have to make sure that are at certain standards, whether it be qualification-wise, whether it be facility-wise, processes, structures, whatever it may be. So back in 2019 was the first time that the club actually passed club licensing, which is an area that I oversee as well. And every year since then, we have passed it with flying colours. So this is obviously a fantastic achievement from the club, and it shows that we passing club licensing. It shows that we are at not just a minimum level, but at the highest level we can across all these areas to ensure that we're at a certain kind of stage and criteria within the club that allows us to compete in these international competitions. So it's personal pride for me that we're able to do that every year. And every year the club licensing, they add in more elements that we have to keep achieving, and we keep doing that. So that's great from our side. So yeah, and like you said, this year we're into the final 9 games of the season, and at the moment sitting first in the league. I'm not getting too excited because of the last couple of seasons we've been in similar situations where we've been top or in the top 2, and we've missed out in the league the last 3 seasons on the last game of the season. It's just not went our way by 2 points or 3 points or whatever it may be, head-to-head records as well that have went against us. So yeah, a lot of games still to go, a lot of points to still be won and lost, but fingers crossed this season we can get over the line and get another league title for the club and the owners as well, which is what they deserve, because we have fantastic owners at our football club who are really supportive of what we're trying to do.
We'll get back into the personal side of things with your own company that brought you over originally to Cambodia. What do the day-to-day operations look like from that end? I know you have to kind of balance the difference between running a professional club, and then as well as the training along on your own. So what is the balance like, and what are more of the operations on the training front?
Yeah, I'm very lucky with the coaching company. There was a fellow Scotsman who was already in Cambodia, and he is now the general manager of the coaching company, and he basically runs all the day-to-day operations of the company, and is doing an absolutely fantastic job. And we're growing every year with adding in youth competitions, school competitions. We've actually started to run kind of amateur competitions for adults as well. And our soccer schools are full all the time, and we have 120 kids on a weekly basis that participate in our soccer schools. We partner with 5-6 international schools as well in the city to ensure we provide extra curriculum programs. So yeah, he is doing fantastic work, which is great because it keeps all the headache of that away from me because I have a lot of work going on at the football club. So really, my role now with the company is to ensure that I just have more of a global view, kind of overseeing how the company is doing from a financial side and strategically, how are we moving forward, what do we want to do. But yeah, the day-to-day operations is very much with the team on the ground, which is great. And as I said, they're doing fantastic work.
We'll get into some of the, I call them the Insider's Lounge favorites. They're just questions we like to ask each guest to kind of get a new idea of how you are more as a person versus your career. So the first question I always ask is, the footballing world is one with many highs and lows. It's just this roller coaster of emotions. What were some of the biggest challenges that you had either throughout your career, or you can just say in life, that you were able to really learn from, and you take them day to day and you kind of keep them in the back of your head now?
Yeah, I think, within the professional club over the last few years, like we all work so hard throughout the whole season. I mean, all clubs do. And yeah, when you lose league titles on the last day of the season for, 2, 3 consecutive years, it's really, really tough. Everybody has to be picked up. We have to get going again. And it's been a massive learning curve in terms of resilience, and that, you have to keep building, you have to keep moving on, you have to keep, focused on what strategically you want to achieve. So that's been a big learning curve in terms of that over the last few years. I think one of the other challenges kind of that I learned, many years ago now, because it's been 11 years in Cambodia, is that adapting, within a different culture, a different environment, is something that I made some mistakes initially, and I learned from the mistakes. But it is a big challenge to try and fit into a completely different culture, completely different environment, and especially within the football environment as well. So that's been one of the big challenges on the personal aspect as well. Yeah.
No, that's great. And then in terms of, I always like, because I know some people are listening now and they might be fascinated by your story and your career path that you've been able to go through so far. Do you have advice for someone that is either interested in a similar path where they maybe want to go abroad and start a new journey, and just general life advice that you might have for someone that's listening to your story now and might be inspired by it?
Yeah, I think one thing that I would have liked to have done earlier is went abroad, and worked abroad, because I think that you learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about different cultures, different environments, different ecosystems within football and how they operate, if we're talking specifically about football as
Mhm.
well. So I would very much encourage people to do that, and doesn't not even in an employment aspect. Just go over and spend 2 weeks or one week with a club, or meet people and talk and network. And one thing that I really really tried to improve on over the last few years, and has been so valuable, is networking. It's something that I didn't really do when I was younger. I probably had quite a small world around me. But over the last few years, I've tried to network and speak to people in different countries, different areas, because knowledge is so important. And being able to find information from people that are in different parts of the world of how they do things and what's their best practices. I think any kind of young person looking to get into certainly football is, be a sponge, network, speak, get as much information as you possibly can, get as much experience as you possibly can, even if it's volunteering. It's football is a very competitive business. It's I have been very, very lucky in my career. It's not easy to get into full-time football, and particularly in professional clubs as well. So being able to network and build relationships and gather knowledge and get as much experience as you possibly can, I think is absolutely vital for young aspiring people that want to get into football. And I think dedication would be the last thing I'd say on it. It's one thing that I look back on in my own career as well, when I was 18, 19, 20, 21. at weekends, my weekends are gone with football. The rest of my friends are going out and enjoying themselves and stuff. But I sacrificed all of that because of football and because of what I wanted to achieve. So I think dedication is key to also ensure that you try to pursue the career that you want to pursue if football is what you want to do.
And if we look at your career and we sit down and have the same conversation in 10 years time, do you have an idea of where you think you'll be in the world and how you think your career might have changed or shifted?
Well, I mean, you never know in football. So it's a difficult one. No, I'd like to hope that I'm still working in football, of course, still working in a club, league, federation, whatever it may be, where I'm able to support and help growth and help the development of whatever area that I'm working in. And I'd like to obviously look back on you know in 10 years time, look back at that I have helped make a difference. I have helped things grow and get better and things progress. So that's what we hope for. But yeah, football, things can change very quickly. So I think we'll just keep working hard, and then hopefully in 10 years, if we have this conversation again, we can look back fondly of where things are.
Definitely. We'll get into some of the quick fire questions here quickly. First of all, your favorite club or your boyhood club growing up, what team was it?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I am from Scotland, so originally from Edinburgh. So we have two main clubs in Edinburgh, which is Heart of Midlothian and Hibernian. It's Edinburgh Derby. So I'm from the maroon side of the city, so Heart of Midlothian is my team, and yeah, it's the only team that I follow. One thing, maybe I'm a little bit old school, but I know people have different teams in different countries that they follow. I don't understand it. It's not something that I can do. I'm very much the only jersey that I own is a Hearts jersey. I always watch the matches. I never wear any other club jersey. It's just the fabric within me is just a one club man.
I love it. That's pure loyalty at its finest. Do you have a favorite quote or saying that you live by?
I do actually, and I think it covers whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, whether whatever area you work in is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I think that is very, very true. There may be people in my role that are more talented, that have higher education. There may be players that are more talented, or coaches that are more talented. But I do really believe that if you work harder, that you can overcome all of that. And that's something that I kind of stand by, is just hard work to overcome whatever is in front of you.
And do you have some top recommendations for Cambodia? If someone's coming across to visit either your club or the country as a whole, what are some of the top places they have to see, whether it's food or just destinations?
I think certainly in Siem Reap, where you have one of the Angkor Wat, one of the wonders of the world, I think is something that should be on everybody's bucket list to visit. It is really, really stunning. And to be honest, outside of that, in Cambodia, I think it's just the people. The people here are just wonderful, so warm, so welcoming, and it just makes it a pleasure. So I think anybody that has ambitions to come to Cambodia, just come and embrace and enjoy the country. But in terms of actual sites to go and see, then yeah, of course, Angkor Wat for sure needs to be on that.
And do you read books? Are you a big reader? If so, what is your top recommendation for a book?
I'm actually not a big reader. I'm much more of an audio guy. I much more prefer to listen to podcasts. So I have a few favorite podcasts that I like to listen to. I'm not sure if you want me to mention them.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear
it. So it's I really like. I don't know if you know the High Performance podcast. I think it's fantastic. A recent podcast that I just came across that was recommended is The Diary of a CEO. which is absolutely terrific as well. And I do like Joe Rogan podcasts as well. So these are the kind of three main podcasts that I listen to a lot. I think, they have football on it, but they also have people from all different industries, which, is, sometimes you can pick up things that can also help you within your own industry as well, and best practices as well. So yeah, much more of a podcast guy, and these kind of three podcasts is what I tune into a lot.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I try and read, I really do, but at the end of the day, podcasts are the way to go for me.
Yeah.
Do you have some hobbies on the side where if you're just trying to get a break from football that you can relax and do something on your own or with your family potentially?
Yeah, well, football really. I still play football.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, I still play football on a weekly basis. We have a kind of ex-track team here that I play, six-a-sides, and I still enjoy playing the game as we all do. So I still do that, and yeah, of course, I have a son. So yeah, I enjoy obviously just spending time with him and in my family as well.
No, one of the most common answers is just playing football.
Yeah,
That's the reality of it. No matter how much you want to try and avoid it, it's always around you.
yeah.
If you could sit down with one person, dead or alive, for a meal, so it can be multiple. We've had guests now say multiple, but just a group of people for a meal, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
So this might surprise you, but I am a huge Elvis fan.
Already.
Um, so this again also comes from my dad. There's a common thread here with my dad, but he is a massive Elvis fan. I've been to Graceland many, many times in Memphis. So yeah, huge Elvis fan. Obviously, he passed before I was even born. But yeah, if I had one chance to meet someone, I mean, it would be an absolute privilege and honor to be able to sit with Elvis and have dinner and while that would be incredible. So yeah, that's who I would choose. Yeah.
No, it's a good one. It's unique. We've never had Elvis. I'll give you that one. So you got him locked in there.
Yeah.
But Chris, I appreciate your time. This is a really good, enjoyable podcast so far. If there's any last words you have or anything you want to shout out, feel free, and then we'll wrap things up.
Yeah, no, obviously just to yourself, and credit to you of everything that you're doing. I see all your podcasts that you post on LinkedIn and stuff like this as well. So continue doing the fantastic work. I hope people continue to support your podcast. And yeah, people who are interested in Cambodian football, feel free to, connect with me on LinkedIn and follow our club. And if anybody ever wants to come out for a club visit and to learn and to gain knowledge, whether they're experienced or whether they're, just, stepping into the football world and want to kind of learn more, then we are an open book and happy to welcome anybody anytime. So, yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn and follow the club. And yeah, as I said, contact us anytime.
Yeah, I'll make sure to add all the links below the episode. But Chris, thanks again for coming on, and we'll speak soon.
No problem, Chad. Thank you very much.